I, Stéphane Poulain, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. The world needs to get this right. The reason behind the real abuse in my life has come up a million times, and after this little story, I really never want to hear about it again, unless you know when I will receive money owed. One, I myself, over the years, have come to blame God for it all, and that only to gain strength from it and avoid chance of ever retaliating. This is the reason why the world crucified the man 2,000 years ago, to give man a chance at moving on from the 13 sins mankind have a lot of trouble following even to this day. But if we are to go into facts of life, here is the list of actual people who are responsible for those who abused are those who abused are fully responsible for their own actions, and that is a foremost important one, as I never retaliated on any of those who did me wrong, and no one on planet Earth had or has the right to do anyone wrong, no matter what the other has or has not done. To blame others is wrong. It's the wrong thing to do, and this is why. If I told you my son tried to kill me and the neighbor retaliated by killing the son because he's afraid, one to blame is not myself, nor is my son's. The one to blame would be the neighbor for actually killing the son. Fact of life, and beyond reasonable doubt, the neighbor would be fully responsible for committing its crime. If you want to go into details about the abuse, then facts above and beyond would be as is. Loneliness and confusion, my father for leaving me there. The sexual abuse, Mark the neighbor. The physical abuse, Monsieur Gauthier, Montfort School principal. Physical abuse, Madame Lapensée, 3rd grade teacher, same school. Intimidation and malpractice, City of Ottawa, the police and the fire department. Torture and malpractice, McHugh and doctors who needled me and stuck me in white padded rooms at the University of Ottawa. Torture and some beatings, my sister for lying about it, my brother for the same, and of course those who actually hit me with the bats and brass knuckles. Sexual abuse, the Big Brothers Association of Canada, Lester Marshall. More physical abuse, Constantino, the stepfather. More physical abuse, staff at the open custody house, Putman. Physical abuse, Monsieur Henri, gym class teacher, and French class teacher, Monsieur Maire. Then everything was calm for a while, managed to finish high school without further pain or harassment, went to college and university without pain also. More physical abuse, referee from Hockey Association of the East District of Ottawa. Sexual abuse by 5 men who are now dead, but nonetheless guilty of raping me and beating me to death, where either the Ottawa police, the fire department, or some kind of medical person found me dead. Failed marriages, myself and my partners for adultery, from all 6 of them. No other abuse at all, at least until I came back to Ottawa from Vancouver. Physical abuse, jumped by the Ottawa police again. Sexual abuse, the landlord has responsibility and had the responsibility to hold the extra key, but nonetheless, old man with white hair for sticking the plunger stick inside of me. Physical abuse, the guards in prison cells at Innis for one. Physical abuse, the inmates at Innis after they got their hands on Michelle Thorne, Book of Lies. Physical abuse, one inmate in Innis after the guards stole my money and never put it in my account. I was struck for $10. Sexual abuse, the guards at Innis. My uncle, sexual abuse for attracting the wrong kind of people around us and even wiping himself on us. Physical abuse, a dude at an Ottawa club. Sexual abuse, the homosexual who raped me in 2011, 2012. Torture, the city of Ottawa for letting it happen and not protecting me properly. Numerous occasions I called for protection and help, and they had me charged with the crimes instead. Malpractice. Proof of this my lawyer has, and my ex was witness to the entire process. And by not paying me lawsuit money owed and forcing me stuck here, entrapment. Since then, provocation became some of this city's people's biggest pastime, and have done so by pushing crack cocaine, where reports and phone calls were repeatedly made by myself to the OPP, Ontario Provincial Police. I have never been a drug user, and I don't even drink. They have also trespassed and harassed with and over my computers and cameras and into my apartments. They have also disrespected the laws into my company, Wild SP Production, a company I solely own and operate with no one else at all. The company is legally registered in Ontario, and I am backed up by a proper Union of Canada, where technically nothing has been released except for what is on my YouTube channel under Stéphane Poulain. Over 200 of my music videos and some future movie previews, alongside of a few legal report and a full biography. CSIS, the FBI, and Interpol do have jurisdiction, yet have failed to be able to stop the harassment caused by so many unmentioned here, because I can't prove 100% whom. These are all facts of life, and these are the identities of all those responsible. Nowhere is my mother guilty of anything, and nowhere is my father guilty of anything aside from leaving me there. I was not a victim of circumstance. I was a victim of ignorant and very highly sexually aggressive men. Stéphane Poulain, le vrai de vrai, survivor, and the reason for all my Stephen King book stories, before you turn me out to be a terrorist. As for two, I do get my head checked regularly, on a regular basis. And that's not even your business, and that's another fact of life. Okay? The courts aren't even allowed to force that kind of test on a human being. Fact of life. That is army material stuff, and it should be confidential. But since the harassment hasn't stopped, I had to come up with plan B. And that was to tell you directly. Like I've told you on a million other clips, it should be hats off for me for never retaliating. Fact of life. And yes, a reason why I hide behind the freedom of speech laws. If you guys are afraid, look inside yourselves. How many sins have you broken? I, Stéphane Poulain, have never committed a crime. Never in my entire life. Fact of life. No matter how you want to look at it, even if you go through all the cases I've been in front of court with, not one shred of evidence. Fact of life. On top of that, I went to Hollywood and I took classes with the best of the best on the planet. Fact of life. Also, I was army trained. I deserve my freedom, and I'm going to get it. I also deserve my money owed, and I am going to get it. Fact of life. Like I've said, I have never, ever, ever committed a crime, and that's a fact of life. Now you are lucky that I'm going to accept a counteroffer of $1 million. Because the world, they want me to wait for the entire $250 million. Fact of life. A lawsuit filed, served. Fact of life. I'm trying to move forward with my life. Stop sticking sticks in my wheels. I am unattached right now. I've lost all the supposed children I might have. Fact of life. I want that money so I can build me a house, so that my next relationship works. I am a movie maker. This planet's most kick-ass rock and roll star you've ever laid eyes on. On top of that, one of the most amazing writers you've ever met. That's never going to change. Those are my 3 jobs. Like I said, I solely own that company. This is not part of my company. This is a legal format. Fact of life. I am Stéphane Poulain, le vrai de vrai. Born 1976, April 12th to be exact. Fact of life. I am also known as Stephen King. I did write those stories. Fact of life. In the next report, I'll tell you how and where and whom they're actually about. Another fact of life. Money is owed, and now I expect. So it's time you pay up. And this is what I look like. Fact of life. You are not to build a caste and allow this trespassing and eavesdropping to go on. That's a fact of life. You are not supposed to do as I say until I hire you and you sign one of my pieces of paper. Fact of life. What you are and what you have to do is pay me at least $1 million. Fact of life. So let's go. You've had enough time to rake it up. This lawsuit has been in process for 4 years now. Another fact of life. And if I do die in the process, you will end up having to pay the entire $250 million, whether I choose or not. So be smart about it. And fork up that $1 million. As fast as you were allowed and able and capable of raping me, as fast as you were able to do all those tortures to me, pay up. Fact of life. Ordered by the judges. There's no way out of it. You must pay. Here's another thing. You, who know the law, you know damn well I am not allowed to leave this city without asking the judge for a leave. And you know damn well I am not going to ask the judge that until you give me $1 million. The only way to close that file is if you pay the entire $250 million. Or if I accept your counteroffer. You're supposed to be civil about this. You're not supposed to allow the harassment to continue. You're not supposed to allow these people to keep tapping into my stuff, to keep provocating. Fact of life. You're not being civil on your side. Remember that. I am far from being sick in the head. I'm sick of your bullshit. That's a fact of life. Here's another thing. No matter what would be wrong or could be wrong with my head, where there is nothing wrong with my head, Fact of life, huh? And that's been proven already. Does not stand in court and does not change the fact that you owe me that money. Fact of life. On top of that, I just gave you the reasons why I write what I write. Do you get it? My stories and my movies are R-rated. Not for children at all. Most you adults can't even handle it. Most you adults would have taken your own lives by living a third of what I lived. Fact of life. And here I will tell you also, I have never been suicidal, nor will I ever be suicidal. You don't like what I write? Then change the channel when it airs. Don't buy my books. As for my music, that's about love. Showing you two different sides. Wake up and smell the coffee. I expect my money. As fast as you can blink, I expect my money. Last but not least, even if you keep telling me that the city is dead to me, the money is still owed. Fact of life. All you 35,000 police officers, I'm entitled now to ask the judge to garnish your wages. Fact of life. That's my next step if you don't counteroffer. Fact of life. Mayor Watson, the same goes for your city. I played by the rules. I stayed civil. Pay up.